I played on the soundtrack with Jerry Lee of Great Balls of Fire. And I was a good friend of Billy Swan's, who lives here in Nashville. And Billy Swan was associated with this movie. T-Bone Burnett was producing the soundtrack for the movie. And Billy called me in to play guitar on it. So I spent, maybe it was only one day or maybe 2 days in the studio with Jerry Lee. It was totally exciting. You spend your whole life as a musician learning how not to speed up or slow down. And Jerry Lee would start at a certain place and it would just ramp up. And I remember the first song, we just said, let's play the song. And we started. And by the end of it, I was out of breath. It was so exciting. And it didn't matter because he just sped up like crazy. It was exciting. I remember sitting around with T-Bone and the band waiting for Jerry Lee on the first day. And he got to be like 2 or 3 hours late. And then he had played a gig in Vegas the night before. And we were waiting for him to fly in from Vegas. And then suddenly we got a call, or T-Bone got a call, and he comes back into the room. He goes, "Hey, get this. Jerry Lee decided to fly home to Memphis instead of coming here today." And we're sitting there going, how cool is that? Anybody but Jerry Lee, we'd have been pissed off, but like, how cool is that? Jerry Lee blew us off, you know? It sounded so great. I mean, it sounded, he would do them in keys that were lower, because he was considerably older than, when he was starting out. So he might, the song might be in C on the record, and he'd want to do it in G or something, and then T-Bone would say, "Yeah, that was a pretty good take. Can we take it up to C sharp? Up to G sharp, And so we do that. He could play piano fluently in every key. I was amazed by that. Whip off a solo in any key. He was a great piano player. And then T-Bone would say, "Well, that was good. Let's try A." And he was just nudging him up, trying to get it, because the film was Jerry Lee's story, and he wanted it to, kind of sound like Jerry Lee at the time. And Jerry Lee was like reluctant. He was sort of irascible, but T-Bone was doing the job, getting him up there, But he was remarkably great. Yeah, one of the top few, Yeah, totally unique. I mean, his whole essence is totally unique, The balance of the devil and the Lord, that's really something.
If you had to listen to some Jerry Lee right now, what would you go towards?
Oh, any of that early stuff, Breathless, Great Balls of Fire. Great Balls of Fire is amazing,
So were you in the room? Were you all cutting in the same room?
Yeah, we were in
all of that?
A studio called Ocean Way, which was a big studio in Hollywood, and all in the same room. And there's David Kemper on drums and Jerry Sheff on bass and me on guitar. And I remember at one point, what's his name? The guitar player that played with Ricky Nelson, James Burton came in, and T-Bone comes to me. He goes, "Would it be okay if James Burton played your telly on this song?" I'm going, "Nah, I don't. I'm not. That doesn't fly, Come on." And James Burton played my telly, and of course he was great, I'm not going to say no to that,
Are you credited in that in the movie?
No, on the album.
On the album, yeah.
No, Billy Swan called me up at one point, and he said there was a problem, and you didn't make the credits. And I think, Jerry McGee played some of the guitar, and he was a LA guitar player guy. He was in the Ventures sometimes, not the original Ventures, but a later day version of the Ventures, and he was really great. He wasn't there when I was there, but he got the credit. I don't think James Burton got credit either, but it didn't matter to me because I knew I did it,
Did you get to have any kind of interaction, like talking with him at all?
Yeah, a bunch of times, just the two of us, like people would leave the room or we'd be out in the hall or something, and he would chat, and he called me killer. I didn't want to say anything at the time, but I'm thinking, man, that is cool. It's like, of course, he called everybody killer.